What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, Hana, Kwanzaa, happy all the holidays that everyone listening celebrates. As we are heading into the new year, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about a fresh start. Ironically, the new year parallels my current life as the opportunity that it presents. And so I will share the thoughts going on in my head, and that might relate to you as we are, I think, starting again fresh together. Over the past 3 years, I have been yearning to come back from India, come back to the States. Somewhere in the middle of those 3 years, I got so far distanced from the life that I left here that all that yearning to come back no longer had a coming back to point. Everything I thought I wanted to come back to, the life I was living, none of that was sitting here waiting for me to return. And so now that I am back, I don't exactly know what I was yearning for in the first place. And while I sit here on my desk, staring at a screen, lost in my thoughts, I realize that there is no real distinction in location in these moments. There is no difference between me sitting at my desk here or somewhere else. And that is why variety is so important. This is why it's important to be present and pay attention to the nuances and the differences of the things around you. And I've had a similar conversation like this with my father. If you watch TV all day or are sitting there with your head down in your phone or in your work, then it becomes very difficult to be connected to what is around you. Every day can feel like exactly the same. I could sit you in front of the Eiffel Tower or the most beautiful scenery, but if you are not mentally there, if your mind is somewhere else, if you are lost in your phone or something else, then there is no difference in that experience for you. It is all the same, and you can squander much of your life in this way. Or at least not be around to feel the difference in much of it. If you don't add variety of experience, if you don't stop and stare at what is uniquely offered in the present moment in your present environment and state, then much of everything is lost. The nuances are what hold the beauty within them. That's where all the character is offered. All the character is developed. All the character is found. And I'm thinking about this because I suspect that it is some of these hidden things that the day-to-day presents you that I wanted to come back to. Maybe it was just something as simple as the view out of my window. But what I think it was, that I'm starting to realize, is the exercising of conscious choice. That very decision of where I am and where I want to be, which was stripped away from me when I felt like I didn't have the liberty to exercise my free will in leaving or moving. I think it's just that feeling itself that I wanted to come back to. Home is not exactly a physical space. And after having been gone for so long, having all of my stuff in a storage unit in California and living in India and returning to Florida while planning for New York, I realized I don't really belong anywhere. And some of that is because I have lived my entire life not laying roots. And quite honestly, I fought the idea of roots my whole life. I had this 4-part quote written on my idea paint wall back in 2010, and one of them said, "I bear the burden of refusing to be grounded, of kicking against permanence. It's an uphill battle." And while I am living out the life that I designed for over a decade, the life that has allowed me to be untethered enough to go live in several places and serve in the ways that I aspire to, there are times still when I get down on myself and I'm in this very human plane, especially when I have thoughts like I don't belong anywhere, where I question if I have made the right assumptions to base my life off of. And I wonder if there even is a life without roots. But old philosophers will tell you that they wouldn't be able to pose the type of questions to life that they do had they had children or were enmeshed in the ordinariness of average life. But I digress away from the point of today's episode, which is this life that I am coming back to and what it means, and paralleled to the life that you are given the opportunity to start again in the next year and beyond. And now, while I don't believe in momentous occasions to wake up and reimagine your entire life, the calendar still does present a nice, neat little reset button that I urge you and myself to take advantage of. And to add some more food for thought for some of the background that I just laid out, this whole life I thought I was yearning to come back to. It is very tempting to try to resume it. Very tempting to treat it like it was paused and try to resume the life I thought I had left behind. It is very tempting to try and recreate the circumstances that I longed for. There's a deep magnetic pull inside of all of us to hold on to the things for nostalgia, to keep from rocking the boats while the flow is not entirely calling for disturbance. But the reality is that life doesn't exist anymore. And any energy spent trying to dig it up could instead be spent building on top of what I have already learned from all those past and passing chapters. Where you are going is incremental, but not always compatible with where you have been. You essentially cannot record and resume at the same time. Either you resume the playback or you create something new. So tempted as I may be, I recognize the invitation life is presenting me to start fresh. Because anything I thought I left behind would take just as much force of will to rehash as starting something new. And so life almost ceremoniously presents me and you with these very simple but poignant questions. What would you like to be tomorrow? Where can you set your compass to provide at least directional guidance, even if not specific guidance? Again, it would be very easy to wake up January 1st and continue the life you have left behind the night before, the weeks and the months before. It would be tempting to fall back into the old patterns, even if you consciously or unconsciously were distanced from them for a bit. The old you has a gravitational pull to it. Those neurons have been deeply wired in, and so it would be a conscious choice to create anew by making decisions that are deeper than aesthetics, deeper than the surface, more than just trivial. Decisions that take into account your future from your past and present. Those that resonate, that ring true to you, that hit home, that are calling for you, that lead to changed behavior, that lead to a new you. Because the old you, the you now, that's just skin you must shed over and over again. There's no coming back to it, and there's no taking it with you, or else half of your life will be wasted yearning and longing for things that you can never return to. It's all meant to be experienced fully while in it, and for it to fade away as the next thing right in front of you grips you fully. And that is your invitation for a fresh start. To embrace this idea, refine your ideas, and then run towards them, leaving behind everything you've ever known. And the most potent parts of all of that you've been through will stay with you and help you. The rest is excess baggage that will only slow you down. And so if you can just do this emotional work that frees you from all this clinching and clinging and really accept the nature of life as such, then you wouldn't need a new year, a new week, a new day before you reset, reimagine, renew, reintroduce, and restart again. Every moment then just becomes an invitation to a fresh start. And once you are there, it's simple. Every time you change, get to know yourself again. And repeat. And repeat. I love you, family. Stay true always. I see you on the next show.